Over the past few weeks, we've been putting the finishing touches on the Carno zone and making sure we get all of the dinosaurs in it that we wanted to have. Well, it's finally time to turn our attention from the Carno area onto our next project, the aquatic zone. So join us in building Jurassic Park. Before we could properly start on a new zone, we needed to sort out our resource issue. A few weeks earlier, I had installed a digital miner and ore duplication system into the basement of our lab, so that we could get a steady stream of resources. Now, this system did work well enough, but by about halfway through week 10, we had mined pretty much all of the resources we needed from our base. So we came up with an idea. We would build a new factory on the far end of the park that would act as not only a new place for the digital miner, but also a dedicated space to make new vehicles and process our resources. Of course, we wanted this to not really be part of the park, but more of an add-on hidden just out of sight, so Martha made the road up to the factory just north of the herbivore zone, and also had a bit of a spruce up of that area while she was at it. While she did this, I got hard at work trying to make a security barrier for the security booth she had made. This single barrier drove me borderline insane. It became a challenge that I refused to back down from. I knew to raise the barrier I would need to use frame teleporters to teleport the barrier to a separate location, then use a slider system to swap out the lower barrier for the raised one and vice versa. Just trying to get this sliding system working took so much effort, far more than I expected. Eventually, I got it working, but I will admit it's not exactly the fastest or most efficient system. I know I can get it to work a lot smoother, but that is an issue for another day, when I have the mental capacity for it. We've got a block called a frame teleporter, right, from the Funky Locomotion.
Okay.
So, just stay there, watching the barrier.
Okay.
I'm just going to show you this in action. Oh. Wait for it.
Exciting.
Wait for it. It takes a few seconds. I can fix the timings. I just don't know how to do it yet. Well, no, I do, but it's going to take me a while to... I had enough of it last night. Should,
Fair
in
enough.
3, 2, 1-ish, be transferring back. It's not transferring back.
Oh, there it is.
There we
it is.
go. Yeah.
fuck's
It
sake.
goes quicker. It goes quicker going down than it does going up. I'll say that. So I'll show you why it's so troubled. I think it's... Yeah, here we are. So if you come here, just
Holy shit.
yeah, just look into this pit. This is what it's doing at the moment to transfer over.
For fuck's sake. That's so much effort for something we'll never use.
Yep. Do you have dirt on you?
No.
I'll
But
come
the
back for it
system's
later.
Nearby, so.
Leaving Martha to make a start on the factory, I decided to, at the very least, begin the entrance to the main feature of the aquatic zone, the underwater glass tunnel. So to get down there, I built an elevator and this super long corridor which leads to where the underwater tunnel will begin. To speed up traversing the tunnel, I threw in these escalators, but instead of making them vertical, I kept them flat to make walking speed faster. At Martha's suggestion, I made some scuba gear so that I wouldn't drown myself trying to build the tunnel. Using my newly constructed scuba gear, I constructed this large glass tunnel that went straight through the lake located just south of the Carno zone. Now, once I built the tunnel, the real challenge came, draining the water from inside it. Initially, I thought I would use a Buildcraft pump and just pump all of the water into tanks, but quickly I realised this would take forever, so instead I just used a building wand and a bunch of dirt. To walk through the tunnel, I made a catwalk with a glass floor. To get this design, I literally just used some glass tables, although I do need to add some railings eventually. With that sorted, I drove down to where the factory would be, so that me and Martha could use diorite to make a plan. It took us a long time just to decide what blocks we would be using. A problem only made worse by Martha getting distracted because she saw the first wolf we had seen on this island and decided she would chase it around for ages to make it a dog. Eventually though, We decided on a rough plan, and I wired up the storage system to the factory and moved some energy cubes over to act as portable batteries. To start with, I just made the floor plan of what machines would go where and built the walls, the sloped roof, and the chimney for the main factory floor, while Martha built the rest of the exterior. After spending several hours on that, I went back to the aquatic zone and constructed this moon pool with a functioning door that opens into the lake, and a moon pool that literally lets you dock the vehicle, which would make traversing the lake so much easier. The sea moth from Subnautica. This was one of many things that we added to the mod pack that I just completely forgot about, because I never really had a reason to use it. I got super excited about the sea moth when I made it, so instantly went to place it down. Then got confused why it wasn't moving, and after a bit of trial and error, I remembered it needed fuel. So one quick trip to my storage system later, I got it working. And it was just beautiful. It can even go into the moonpool holder and drop out into the water just like the game. As per usual, once I began to make progress on one part of the park, I got bored and went back to another. This time I made 2 quantum entangleopers to literally teleport electricity from the main power grid to the factory. Now, these were super expensive to make, but I still think it was easier than digging a physical power system. I wired this system into a bunch of capacitors, then linked those capacitors up to a switch to turn on and off the power, and a device that measured how much power was passing through it. While I did this, Martha finished the exterior of the factory, which she purposefully made to look as much like a prison as possible, so that we can drain the hopes and dreams out of our workers. Oh, she also kidnapped a pig. For some reason. Not really too sure why, but it's Martha, so who knows. Down by the lake, I took inspiration from SeaWorld and made these steps and seating area for people to watch the water dinos swim around and eat their food. I even added this little food stand that sells fish pie, because I wasn't sure what other food to put there. Finally, it was time to put down our first fish, so I spent a bit of time with some fine nets to gather a bunch of plankton and krill before grabbing some Rhesidus, which we already had ready to go, and hopped into the sea moth. To be honest, placing them down, I just had to sort of hope that they would survive and grow into adulthood, because the lake is just that large that it wouldn't be easy to monitor them like it was with other pens. Running over to the factory, I quickly built a proper garage, just so that I can finally move all of our vehicle workbenches from outside the lab to their own dedicated area. To celebrate, I made us 2 motorbikes, a delivery van that you can actually walk around inside of, and an ambulance. With the Carno zone now being completed, I also quickly made this little map and put it around the park. I plan to make more of these maps for other zones eventually. My first objective going into week 12 was to place down some more water dinos, so I quickly made up a few Stixes and placed them down in the bottom of the lake. It wasn't until later when they grew up that I actually realised they have stripes that glow in the dark on them. But this made me realise just how insanely difficult it is to see anything in the water. So I made a Tradomat and a bunch of night vision potions. For now, you only need an egg to buy a night vision potion, but later this will be changed when I eventually sort out a currency system. Looking over at the Carno area, I realised we had this little strip from the top left down to the central middle, where there is nothing but grass. This is a bit boring, so I went along and planted a bunch of prehistoric ginkgo trees to add some much needed depth. I do plan to go around a lot of these big empty areas and add in prehistoric trees, and also doing a bit of terraforming to make the world look that little bit better in the more boring areas. I went back to the factory to finally get some of the machines down. The first one I wanted to build is the arc furnace from Immersive Engineering. This colossal multi-block structure is the best furnace in the mod, able to smelt many different blocks at once. When combined with an ore crusher that lets you duplicate ore production, this arc furnace can be absolutely incredible. However, it does have one major weakness. It needs constant maintenance. This comes in 2 forms. The first is slag, which the furnace will every now and again throw out and will clog up the machine, stopping it from working if not regularly emptied. However, you can use pipes or conveyor belts to remove the slag and filter it into a chest. The other drawback is the need to produce graphite electrode rods, which will deteriorate over time, and need to be regularly replaced to keep the furnace running at peak capacity. Before I turned the arc furnace on, I quickly made a fermenter and a squeezer. The fermenter is especially important since it can be used to produce ethanol, which is used for fuel in many of our vehicles and can be used instead of lava. To get my electrode rods, I threw a bunch of coal coke into the grinder to make coke dust, then smelted this dust before putting the result into the metal press to make electrode rods. I also very quickly wired up a diamond chest and pipe system to the arc furnace to remove the slag from the machine. I was about to call it there for now in the factory, when Porkchop approached me. He asked if he could move into the factory, so without really questioning it and wanting to clear room in our already crowded lab, I built him a little office up top. When I left him there, I swear I could hear maniacal laughter, but I am absolutely sure that there is nothing to worry about. With that done, I finally set my sights towards one of the biggest single buildings we were aiming to build, the museum. From the earliest planning stages of the park, we knew we wanted to build a museum, and we knew we wanted to build it right between the two lakes. Despite this, we had been really reluctant to make a start on it, because we both knew it would be a large project and take a lot of effort. For now though, all I did was build the outside of the entrance, for which I made a big circle with a brachy skeleton surrounded by a pond in the middle. I then made a bunch of Corlineth and placed them in the pool. While I was at it, I couldn't resist making a pair of piranhas and placing them in the fish tank in the bedroom. Back at the factory, I placed down the digital miner to start automating our ore production again, but at first our ore production did not seem to be working. I eventually realised that I had mixed up the cables, so one quick fix later and I got it all working again. And it was beautiful. I just really like seeing the ore dropping into the grinder before being carried out and taken into the arc furnace via pipe. And watching the arc furnace work is just so cool. It's all just so quick and I love it. But at the water zone, I started digging out the other side of the tunnel. Now, for some reason, I decided I wanted to build a big underwater restaurant. And I can say I almost went insane building both this and a coffee shop. The underwater restaurant had a giant glass window, which trying to install it was just insanely annoying. I don't know why, but this restaurant took me way too long and drove me insane. Meanwhile I was losing my mind underground, Martha built Stephen. Now, some context is needed here. Stephen is something Martha had built on a theme park we had built using a roller coaster mod a few years back. It served as part of a ride in the Viking Zone, where the roller coaster goes through the mouth and down the throat of the sea monster. I knew I wanted to build an aquarium here, but didn't know exactly how I wanted it to look like. Luckily, Martha suggested she rebuilt Stephen to act as an entrance, and you know, I think it looks great. Martha also made another egg farm over at the factory, because at this point, I think she's just gone completely insane with the eggs. Deciding I wanted to place down a new dinosaur, I got one ready that Martha had been wanting to see for ages. The Mosasaur. Okay, I'm not really too sure what you're gonna do.
Just sit here. Oh.
Do you wanna... Yeah, because I'm not too sure how you're gonna be able to do this without drowning, but... Off we go.
I can't see shit anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Oh my god, this thing is massive already. Oh, and it's spinning, but it's down. That's what matters.
Is that it? What is that?
This is the Mosasaur here.
Oh,
it's not an adult yet. It's still a baby Mosasaur.
Also, I'm drowning.
What I didn't realise was just how massive the Mosasaur would get. After this, we came together to argue about what we would build the museum out of, which we would eventually agree on. Now,
I mean,
to
be honest, we've been here for about 20 minutes
just
just
deciding on colours. However, I
Big
may
tile.
or may not
Big
have
tile
gone
for the
slightly
floor
or
and for the
massively
wall.
rather sidetracked.
Who knows?
I just do a series of different marble textures.
Worst case scenario, we can rip out the floor
and go from there.
Yeah.
First off, I expanded the pier area at the water zone to loop it around on the side Stephen was. Then I realised it was a bit boring not being able to see any of the water dinos from the pier, so I came up with a solution, replacing the bottom of the lake with ocean to add a backlight. I used the sea moth to help navigate down there, and admittedly this was another thing that took ages, but hey, at least I got a lot of clay from it. Oh yeah, and I was absolutely terrified of the mosasaur. I mean, just look at how colossal it is. But at the end of the day, all the effort and concern of being eaten was totally worth it. You could now actually see what was inside the pool from the surface, which is always a bonus. It was now time to build the aquarium, but when I opened Stephen's mouth, it was filled with a bunch of mobs, which, admittedly normal and expected. What was not normal, however, was that one of the zombies had angel wings. I'm still not exactly sure what that was about. For the aquarium itself, you enter through Stephen's mouth before coming into a small petting pool. Following this right, you enter a slightly larger pool with a little balcony area. Beyond this, you come into a small maze of tanks, each filled with a different fish inside. This then connects to yet another water tunnel, where the water luckily hides this awfully designed boat I made. On the far end of the tunnel is the gift shop, which sells toys of the aquatic dinosaurs in the area. All of this is linked up to the steps on the other side of the aquatic zone. Just to add some more depth to the area, I added this park to bridge the gap between the aquatic zone and this massive empty area that I am still deciding what to put there. I do really like this little park, and this is exactly what I was on about wanting to add earlier. I like adding in all of these prehistoric plants and trees as well, because I think it helps make the area stand out. I realised it was also time to build something I really should have built much earlier. So I went to the docks at the bottom of the park and expanded it to add probably one of the worst looking boats ever, but I guess it could have turned out worse. I at the very least like how this bridge looks to get off the boat. The idea here is that the guests are brought to the park via boats, just like in the Jurassic World films. So, since this is for all purposes the true entrance of the park, I added a giant sign and placed down a giga-skeleton and some other decorations. The entrance is something I do plan to come back to make it all come together a little bit more nicely. The start of week 13 had me going to my room to sleep, just to find that one of my piranhas has somehow died and their items have dropped onto the floor. I'm guessing I forgot to feed them or something. Either way, it was just a bit annoying. Straight after this, I ran over to the T-Rex pen and finally made a cave that was the right size for it. Yeah, I know I said I was going to do this weeks ago, but I finally got around to it. Now the T-Rex doesn't just stand in a corner and spin, so that's a result. While I was in a productive mood, I also swam down to the aquatic zone to put down some Palesiosaurus's and some Itchies, because the more dinosaurs the better. Meanwhile I was getting all of these dinosaurs ready and placing them down, Martha was hard at work building the exterior of the museum. This was something which, to be honest, I think we had sort of wanted to do much earlier. A lot of my initial ideas of the park saw the museum being built in the first few weeks, as it was meant to be a centrepiece of the park. But with hindsight, I actually am glad that we waited so long to build it. You see, I think we both learnt a lot over the last 12 to 13 weeks we had been building, and I think if we had built the museum earlier, it might not have turned out as well as it did. Another advantage of the museum finally being built was that it filled in one of the two massive empty areas left in the park, with the other area being in the bottom right between the aquatic zone and the entrance. For weeks I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do with it. I did have a few ideas about turning it into a park of some kind, but I could never really decide. Eventually I decided to just bite the bullet and make a start on the zone. I had realised just how many small dinosaurs we had that weren't actually in any of the enclosures. We had glossed over many of them for a variety of reasons, but mainly because I think we had a bit more of a focus on going for cooler, more iconic dinosaurs. My new plan was to transform this part of the map into a more child-friendly zone, with these little dinosaurs running around so that they can be petted. Before I could even start, however, there was a lot of landscaping that needed to be done. All around this part of the map, there were dozens of holes that went down into the cave system that I needed to flatten out. While I was at it, I also threw some spawning prevention torches under the ground to prevent any mobs from spawning in the middle of the areas. While that was sorted, I still needed to get rid of all the bushes and tall grass, because it would be annoying for me while I was building. Now, I could have done this by hand, but instead I got one of our cars and just ran over all of the plants. All of this landscaping did give me an idea. For the entrance of the zone, I was going to create a little garden centre to try and sell our prehistoric plants to visitors. This meant that anyone who wanted to cut through this part of the park would have to go through this shop, which I thought was a pretty fun idea. I set up all of these little plant holders, but even then I wasn't able to fit all of the prehistoric plants from the mod inside. For the tills, I just used conveyor belts so that items could actually go along them. I also made the exit function as an airlock, where you get out using pressure plates, but have to use buttons to get back in, to prevent the dinosaurs from getting loose. While I was building the garden centre, I kept hearing zombie noises coming from under the ground, so after getting frustrated, I began to tear up the ground, and that was when I discovered a dungeon. My solution to this was excessive firepower by using a flamethrower to clear out the room. In the chests, I did find some Jurrasic music discs and a few other good items. After clearing out the dungeon, I spent about an hour setting up the outer fence to make sure that none of the dinos would accidentally get loose into the rest of the park. For the airlock on the other side of the park, I built a nice little cafe. For the blocks, I chose to specifically use wood from the prehistoric trees. This was my first time using any of them for a build, but I think they worked pretty well, especially the Aracusia floors. I surrounded the cafe with a small pond that I filled with fish and used some wooden rope bridges to cross. On the inside, we have a small little kitchen where, while I was building, I remembered that the Mr. Crayfish mod had a cookie jar. I legitimately cannot believe I forgot about this. I also may or may not have gone on an expedition to the jungle again, because I didn't realise that we already had a cocoa bean farm set up. Regardless, after a long period of time, I got all the cookies into the jar, then drove on to the other side of the park to help Martha out in extending the museum. I made these two corridors to connect the central museum to the back building, where we plan on putting a giant skeleton on display. In the middle gap, Martha put down these super tall trees to make a type of courtyard thing. Speaking of trees, I got my axe and went back to the new small dinosaur area and began chopping down most of the trees in the zone. It made me appreciate just how good the mod that lets you cut down a tree in one go is, because that mod for some reason does not work on the rubber trees, which was very annoying. Once the trees were gone, I went off into the corner and decided to build a mini playground. The first thing I built for this was the slide. Now, I will admit that this slide isn't exactly my best work on this island, but it works. Sort of. Right next to the slide, I set up a bouncy castle that is so bouncy you can even bounce onto the top of it. I am sure that would not be a health and safety issue whatsoever. Actually, now that I think about it, nothing in this park is health and safety approved. I mean, where are the railings? In an attempt to redeem myself for the slide, I used chisel and bits and created some swings. Now, if the slide wasn't exactly my best work, I personally think that the swings may actually be some of my greatest. They look more or less how I wanted them to, and as an extra bonus, later I did catch some of the small dinos hopping onto them. Since there weren't going to be any specific pens for this area, I knew that I wanted to build some small houses for the dinosaurs instead. I designed these small 1-block high wooden homes and scattered a bunch of them all around the area. While I was at it, I also made a small oasis pond and a food cabin facing towards the lake. To finish off the builds, I went around and put down all of the trees and paths for the area. From there, it was finally time to put down the dinosaurs. At first, I put down a few of them to make sure I got the right ones. Then later, I came and put down a bunch more. Apart from the dodos, who actually seemed to stay together in a little group, my favourite were these Leos because they would hop everywhere, and I think it's just really cute. This entire zone took me about a day or so of building, and while I was doing that, Martha was off making even more progress on the museum, even constructing the exterior of the second floor. Now, for some reason, when I finished the small dinosaur area, I decided I wanted to go to the service corridor at the back of the herbivore zone and build a detention cell for spies, trying to steal our secrets. What exactly inspired me to do this, I'm not really too sure, but I probably should have done it sooner. With the park nearing completion, it won't be long until we accept guests, and who knows what some of them might try to steal. I made 2 cells each, with 2 beds and a toilet. Overseeing these espionage cells is our security guard, Vladimir. Straight after this, I met up with Martha to place down a few skeletons in the museum. That's a bit better. Problem is also lining it up because look, it's at an angle now. I'll sort it out at some point.
What are we doing? What are we putting in this middle bit?
Hang on. What middle bit? Oh, in there? I was thinking just like a gazebo in a little park.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to maybe put some dinosaurs or something in it.
No. I mean, I'm not opposed to having like a little micro-raptor thing, but I think it would be better. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe we can just leave it as a dino area, but...
Because I can't be asked to put stairs in, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, we'll just leave it as a dino area then. Here's your marble back, -2.
I've always got marble on me.
I mean, this is a bit better for being central.
Yeah.
It does show just how massive the mosasaur is, though.
I thought it was going to be longer. I mean, it's huge, but it might just be because that room's huge.
As week 13 was coming to an end, I quickly went back to make a bit more progress on the entrance to the park. I slightly changed the paths and got rid of the Gigaskeleton to instead replace it with 3 new ones, with those being a Carno, a Titanus, and a Susho. Personally, I think this display looks far better than the Giga, simply because the Giga doesn't have any different skeleton poses yet, and it is a little too big for the entrance. In preparation for the park finally opening, I started by expanding the docks at the entrance of the park. Currently, we only have a single dock arm, and I feel like it looks a bit weird on its own, so I very quickly built a second one. I might end up building yet another in the final week when I come around to putting the final touches on the park, but for now, it will do. My main build for this week is going to be the Mountainside Hotel. While we already have the Gallimimus huts in the herbivore area, this hotel will serve as the main and by far largest hotel in the park. The location for it is in the mountain between the aquatic zone and the small dino area, with both sides having an entrance. The main entrance will be in the small dino area, so I got myself the mining laser and drill, and began mining out the entrance corridor. I knew how I wanted the lobby to look, and to clear out so much room I was going to need a machine. So, for the final time, I went back to the storage system and got out the quarry. Honestly, this single machine has served me so well while building the park. Without it, I may never have finished the underground animal food area, the nuclear reactor, nor the dinosaur fight club. Whenever I needed a large area clearing, it has been my go-to device. So you would think after all this time, I would remember to bring levers to turn it on. With the stuff sufficiently cleared, I began to work on the lobby. For the floors, I used the Arakusha prehistoric wood block again, because I really like how it looks as wooden planks. For the centre of the lobby, I put down a Spinoskeleton. At first, I had just wanted this as a placeholder, and would swap it out for something else, but I actually ended up really liking it. For the front desk, I left some complimentary cookies out for check-in. Building the bedrooms ended up being a bit more of a challenge than I anticipated, because I got ahead of myself. Each of the 27 bedrooms in the main part of the hotel are fully furnished with beds, a TV, custom designed wardrobes and mini fridges, as well as a fully furnished bathroom. To build all of these took ages, and is yet another case of me dedicating way too much time on a single build that I could have cut in half. With the main 27 rooms done, I decided to add chiselled numbers to all the doors. Why do I do this to myself? With that done, and my sanity completely destroyed, I dug an elevator up to the top of the mountain. You see, while building the rooms, I remembered that the Industrial Craft mod lets you make hot spring water. So I spent ages filling up a fluid/canning machine with water that turns water into hot spring water. The location of the hot spring gives a really nice view of the surrounding area and the aquatic zone of the park. However, I didn't realise that it needed lava beneath it to stop it turning back into water. So, one quick trip to the Nether later, and I got the hot spring set up properly. I also didn't realise that the hot spring gives regeneration while you are inside of it. Back in the lobby, I dug a hole in the floor and made a little Microraptor pen that has a seating area above it so you can watch the Microraptors while waiting. Now, do you remember when I built the aquatic zone, how insane I got while building the underwater restaurant, because it just took far longer than it should have? Well, let's do it again, this time for a few underwater hotel rooms. Each of the 4 underwater rooms seem a fair bit bigger than the standard 27 in the main hotel. They also have a far better view showing the underwater area. And those fish aren't dead, I promise. They're just sleeping. Getting bored of the hotel, I decided to go on over to the museum to make some progress on it. First thing I did was build a small cafe on the side facing towards the long neck pen. I also went around and started putting down skeletons just to get a feeling on which skeletons will go where. In the final week of the park, I plan to actually go through the museum and beauty up the skeletons and their positions. Opposite the cafe, I designed the gift shop, which sells small dinosaur toys. The gift shop would lead to a dramatic FPS drop every single time we came near the museum. After taking that little break, I returned to my work on the hotel and began building the main restaurant. The general idea was that this restaurant would be the general buffet one, where there would be a more expensive one round the corner. To keep with the theme of the restaurant, I put out a bunch of breakfast food items on plates for the guests to help themselves to. Opposite the restaurant, I also quickly built a swimming pool with a bit of a beach theme. Initially, I wanted this to be far larger, but I ended up getting frustrated with the designs, so I left it as a much smaller pool. While I was making the pool, squids did actually start spawning inside it and swimming around. As I was drilling away underground, clearing room, Martha was hard at work building this animal barn and the surrounding wheat farm. The reason that we built this barn, despite the fact that we have an animal farm underground, was simply for appearances. We wanted visitors to think that these animals are treated well before being sent to be eaten by the dinosaurs, instead of just being thrown out of the floor. I also like how the wheat field fills up an empty space we had in the park. That's always a bonus. The final rooms for the hotel I built was this penthouse on the top floor. The penthouse was far larger than any of the other hotel rooms. In fact, it has 2 bedrooms in it, each the size of the other hotel rooms. The penthouse also has 2 large windows, both of which face towards the aquatic zone, giving a decent view of the large lake in Spino Pen. Currently, I only have the 1 penthouse, but I am considering building another 1 or 2 of them. To go with this higher end part of the hotel, I built a higher end restaurant that serves more expensive food as well. The final build I did for the 14th week was designing this cute little bookshop next to the entrance. To be honest, there wasn't really much of a reason to do this other than I had it on my list of possible ideas, so I decided to tick it off. Also, it was a good job that I built another dock arm, because yet another boat turned up. It was at this point I decided to show Martha what I had built this week. So, this is what I've built so far. On the left, we have the standard restaurant, and it still has this really awful check-in book.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's what it's meant to be. I know that's not exactly what it is. We've got a nice little breakfast selection. We've got sausage, egg, just to keep you happy, bacon.
So you've got a lot to. It should all be eggs, Josh. You've got a lot to get rid of.
Mushrooms. Yeah, I know. You've got a small egg problem. Got a little swimming pool down here.
That's a swimming pool.
Oh, yeah. What did you think it was?
An enclosure for something?
Whatever
Oh,
you
I
want.
thought there was a hole in the wall, but it just hadn't.
No, I had that just. But yeah, so these are all the changing rooms. Yeah,
Any
look, you can-
showers?
No.
Okay.
And you come through here, we've even got a little diving board, and I made a very, very bad, lifeguard
that?
seat.
Oh, that's what that is. Josh, I'll be honest, I think they might die.
Yeah, but they're lifeguards, so who cares?
Oh my god, it's actually bouncy.
Oh yeah, it actually works. Yeah, so we've got the little front check-in desk here, and then if you follow me...
You can buy things.
Yeah, did you not know you can buy stuff on here?
No.
Where do
I've
you think...
literally never seen one before this.
There's a few throughout the park, but it's the same, like, it's the same stuff you buy everywhere, to be honest. Like, they all have the same traits. I've had a look, and I can't seem to work it out, so...
Have you bought one?
I did on a single player.
Oh.
Okay, this is
not
the lobby.
spawned
I think you've seen the lobby, haven't you, for the thumbnail?
Yeah, I took a photo.
Yeah. What do you think?
It kind of looks like he wants to shake your hand.
Yeah, it does. I meant about the lobby, not about the dinosaur.
Oh. Are people going to die when they fall off these balconies?
You know, you're not the first person to raise... I did see someone comment about how there's no railings in the entire park, and it has made me think that...
Someone's going to die very quickly. And it's
Yeah,
like
at some point.
related.
I mean, look down here. We've got a pack of Microraptors.
They look depressed.
Oh, come on, not everyone here is depressed. But you... Okay, then,
They've got no water.
Well, come over here and have a cookie.
Where are you? Ooh.
There. Oh, you're less depressed now. No, don't steal all the cookies. Oh my god. Can't take you anywhere. Alright, I'm going to show you some of the rooms. So, oh, I've also got this working. A remote elevator, so you can activate the elevator from outside of it.
Ooh, these are cool rather less cool.
Yeah. All the rooms in this bit are the same, so just pick any of them to go into.
Someone's going to die. You bastard! Fuck off.
Okay. But yeah, so these are the rooms. We've got a wardrobe with nothing in
No
it.
toilet.
Yeah, I know, there's not a single toilet in this park. I am going to have to do something about that at some point. Right. There's a mini fridge here.
Did you really build a bathroom if we get to put a toilet in it?
Shh. Small details, but yeah, we've got the mini fridge.
The fuck is that like, what is that?
A mini fridge! I've said it 3 times.
Yeah, I know, but what is it?
I built it myself.
Oh.
Yeah, I built it with chisel and bits. It's not a, it's not part of the mod. I would like you to appreciate the effort I went to of putting numbers on all the doors.
Josh, you might have a bit too much free time.
Yeah. Well, I work, what, how many hours is it now a week? About 60,
I don't
70
know,
hours
but I
a week?
feel like it's not enough.
Right, up we go. I just don't sleep. That's the trick. Sleep is for the weak, Martha. It's for the weak. Anyway, so this is what I meant when I said your plan to build a wall... I need to fix that. Around the wall side of the park might be redundant.
Wait, I might be able to fix that. I can't fix that. I took the dirt out. You've actually made cool looking paths.
This is a hot spring. Gives you
Holy
regeneration. Turns out we've had a hot spring water. You know how we've used Industrial Craft 2 like a dozen times across all those mod packs we've done?
Yeah.
The entire time we had this hot spring water that regenerates you.
How did you get it?
You get a canning machine and you just put water in it and a stick.
So it was relatively easy.
Insanely easy, yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay.
But look at the view. You can see all the way down to the big fish pond.
Wow, none of it's loaded.
It's for me. It's just because your chunk
Oh, I
distance
can see
is what's
Steven.
slow. Oh, yeah. You can see Steven easily. Right.
So there's I'm currently in a cloud.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that when I started building. Okay, this isn't all the hotel rooms either. So, this is the penthouse.
That is very pink.
It's red.
Well, it looks pink on my screen.
I might build another one at some point, but look at this. You can see
It is
straight...
red, it's just my monitor. I have to put it on the other one.
You can see down to the Spino, and you can just see the Spino bouncing up and down from here.
I can't, but I'll take your word for it.
Just put your render distance up. Upstairs.
You can't be asked.
So we have 2 bedrooms and a bathroom that also does not have a toilet.
Fuck's sake.
Oh no, it does!
Oh my god, the only toilet!
There's 1 toilet in the entire park.
Okay, I've done
I hate you.
What is this?
This is the bath. With
Is the
lopsided
whole-
water
okay.
on the end.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Down to the basement. Oh yeah, this is quite a quick elevator as well.
I'm not going to make it out of this. My game will not allow me
So
to
if
get
you
out
just
of that.
hold C and look at the end of the corridor,
Oh,
you'll
I see what you mean.
Yeah, I think it's
Like
something.
an epileptic's nightmare.
Yeah, I should probably put an epilepsy warning
Holy
on or something.
shit.
So these are
Oh my
the.
god, I hate that.
I need to work out how to fix this, but these are the underwater rooms.
Oh no.
Oh my god, the
It's
mosasaur's right
shit.
outside the window.
Holy shit, that's huge.
Oh yeah, have you not actually been underwater in a while?
I haven't been underwater at all because we didn't have enough night vision potions and scuba gear and shit like that.
Oh yeah, I never gave you scuba
Josh,
gear.
I've got to get out of this area because my eyes hurt.
Yeah, let's go. But that is the end of everything we've done. Oh, I've done. Do you want to go and see
I've
Pork
done
Chop?
very little. Yeah?
After showing Martha everything, I decided to go and find Pork Chop, as I hadn't seen him in a while. Little did I know, he had been building something himself.
I don't know when the last time I was over here, but I cleaned it out last time I was
Yeah.
over here.
Let me have a look. There's quite a bit left to go, but I need to put in some fuel rods. Let me just go and trade for Pork Chop to see if I can get some more. Martha,
Yeah?
when was the last time you saw Pork Chop?
Fucking, I don't know.
Okay. He's not there. He shouldn't really be able to do that. Let's just have a look in the area, see if we can find him. See if, like, something spooked him and he's run off. But yeah, so he was down here that I'm meant to build the fuel tanks. And to be honest, I probably will at some point, but I don't use the cars that need fuel, so I've not been forced to. That's new. Did you build this path, Martha?
Not the end bit.
Okay. Oh, there's a hole through there. Who knows? Why do you... I remember you're the one who built this wall. Why did you use a stone button on a stone wall? Going through
pig.
this dark oak forest at night
Okay.
isn't exactly good. Martha, can you stop killing animals? We need to move them into that farm to make people think that we don't have a slaughter farm.
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm on the path. Where are you?
I'm in a hole.
What the hell is this? Hang on, how the hell are you in a hole?
I'm in a one block.
What hole are you in?
I might have fallen in a one block.
Oh, this hole, yeah. Yeah, have your
there.
blocks back and get
Oh
out.
yeah, show me those.
Hang on.
I've got some actually.
Yeah, I don't know why you're waiting for me.
I'll take those.
When you're supposed to be a strong, independent woman or something.
Who said that?
Good point. Follow me. So, did you build this?
No.
I mean, it's
I
in
didn't
your
go past the
building
wall.
style, so I'm assuming it was you.
Ow! You bastard.
Hey, don't hit me. Ow, ow, ow. Hang on. Martha, what's that through the door? Can you get
I
the
don't know,
angle
it's
on
just
it?
your big fucking head in the way. No. I think it's moving though.
Okay, let me try a password. The blocks were reinforced using security craft, meaning that I couldn't just break in, and without the passcode, I couldn't open the front door. I planned to meet up with Martha and work out how to get inside. However, considering that we plan to finish the park next week and are running out of time to do so, working on the park does actually take priority over whatever it is that Pork Chop is doing. I started the final week on the park by getting rid of some of the sand at the entrance and replacing it with dirt and adding prehistoric trees to naturalise the area. While I was doing this, Martha was putting up a wall around the dock, so that new arrivals have to go through the front entrance. She also made several new dock arms, and on the furthest of these, I put down some small boats that we can sail. I will admit, I did have some trouble putting them down at first, but eventually got them lined up properly. Once that was sorted, it was then time to go back to the one large build I had been completely ignoring for about 2 months now. The train system. The tunnel network was already there for the trains, but it took just so long to replace the bottom of the tunnels with the electric shunting wire needed, and then placing down all of the correct electronic rails and high-speed tracks. Legitimately, I had put it off for so many weeks, just to realise I now had no other choice than to confront it. It took me a few days of building it on and off to finally get all of the tracks down, and get the train stations working. I literally went insane, and at this point, I was just building it to prove a point. What that point was, I still have no clue. But eventually, I got it all working and even set up a ticket system to pick which station you want to go to out of the 4, with those being the laboratory, the reactor, the Carno area, and the herbivore area. The biggest problem with the trains is that sometimes they can be a tad bit laggy. While I was building the trains, it reminded me of something that I had not even thought about in ages: the tunnel bore miner. When we first started, this was one of the main ways to get ore that we had access to, that didn't require us to really do anything. So I headed far down into the tunnel to see if it was still going, and what do you know? It actually was. Once the trains were sorted, it became time to go to our prison colony and move some of the villagers out into their full-time, unpaid roles. So we took any villagers who had jobs that could be used in the park and moved them around. For example, we took the librarian and placed him in the bookshop. It took me a while to get the relevant villagers around the park, but once I did, I then decided to go around and start placing toilets everywhere. What I didn't realise until much later was that Martha was also doing the exact same thing as me. Now, this did lead to us going from having no toilets in the park to actually having quite a lot. After the toilet incident, it was time to put down the last few remaining dinosaurs in the few pens left in the herbivore area. So I went and placed down a few stegosauruses, trikes, patchies, hueys, ankylos, and steerers. While I was dealing with the dinosaurs, I ran back to the museum and finished moving around all of the skeletons to get them in the correct positions, before adding signs for each of them. In the basement of the museum, we added some pallets, a bunch of crates, and to move them around, a forklift. The next thing I did was make a digital map of the park and put it up around the zone to help people know exactly where they were going. But looking at the map, it made me realise that I had forgotten to replace a lot of the trees we had cut down in the first few weeks. So I began a reforestation campaign and spent a few hours running around the park placing saplings. Doing this really made me reflect on just how much the island has visibly changed, and how much work me and Martha have put into terraforming the area. Once all the trees were grown, I immediately knew the time investment was worth it, because it just made the whole park look so much more complete, especially in the area around the museum. To finish up the security side of things, I made sure each pen had at least one CCTV camera. For the large outdoor areas like the long neck pen, I attached cameras to the trees, and it actually looked a lot better than I thought it would, honestly. I actually ended up using all 30 of the CCTV slots that my monitor could handle. The final thing that I finished working on in the park was the lazy river boat ride in the herbivore zone. Just like the trains, this was a project I abandoned relatively early on because it was laggy and just a pain to work on. Revisiting it, I decided that instead of the self-driving conga line idea I originally had, I would instead have visitors row their own boats. So, to help with boarding the boats, I added a 1-block deep docking area and had an NPC placed there to help bring the boats to the visitors. Now, to get down to the southern entrance of the river, I had to build this tunnel and use the treadmill escalators one last time. Once I built this hut that served as the entrance to the river ride, the park was finally completed, and the boats would start to bring in the first guests. To celebrate finally finishing and having our grand opening, me and Martha went and filmed a world tour. Once the tour was done, we didn't have any more excuses not to deal with the pork chop issue. Now, Martha had actually been surprisingly proactive about this, and managed to secretly follow pork chop entering the new area. While doing this, she managed to get a glimpse of the passcode. So we grabbed our weapons and went to deal with him. So Martha, have you got your guns?
Where did you get a flamethrower from? I didn't know.
I grabbed it from my room. You've got your flamethrower. You have brought your flamethrower, right?
No, I didn't realise that.
What weapons have you brought then?
This gun.
Okay, so we've both got a gun at least to shoot pork chop. Let's go. So, I'll be honest, I've got absolutely no clue what the hell he's been doing in here, but it looks like there's some sort of dino. So, I don't trust him. I want to take him down. Martha, put in the password. Duh, 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 duh. What the hell is that? Is that an Indominus Rex? From the Jurassic Park films? Okay. Right, pork chop. You've got some explaining to do. Where the heck? Okay. So, Martha, I think we might have made a small mistake here by letting Pork Chop be left to his own devices. I am 100% blaming you for this.
I didn't want him in the first place, so, you know, your fault.
No, I think your fault. I mean, his son's over there, so... Okay. I mean, I do pretty much share the same thing. He did mention something about our reactor, so we should probably go straight there. If we turn right here, it'll be the quickest way, won't it?
Yeah, I don't know the way to your reactor.
Martha! Yeah, we're not going that way.
I can take him. That's the mining base.
Yeah, run away. Follow me, run away. They're following us, Martha. Oh my god! They fly!
Yeah.
Okay, I took one down. Get to me, Martha, get to me.
I killed one as well, so...
There's another one.
I don't know how to reload this gun. It won't let me. Okay, there we go.
Okay, right, we're gonna go through the museum, Martha. If we go this way, we're just gonna die. We're just gonna have to go through the museum, okay?
Yeah.
Bloody hell, this is a nightmare. The entire park's just falling apart, honestly. Let's go. Is that one over the water?
I have no idea what you're looking at. Oh,
Beyond
there.
Okay, just keep an eye on the water. I don't want any more to appear. Is that... Oh, no. Yeah, we're not going that way. Follow me, Martha. We're going to go around the back. Right, let's go. We're going to have to go around the back. It's going to be the... Oh, for God's sake. Martha, we're going to have to fight it. Oh, didn't even realise we were there. Okay. I mean, I feel like we could take one. I don't feel like we could take many more of them.
Oh, fucking hell.
What? Oh my god, Martha, we spent literally 100 days on this. Okay. We gotta go this way, there's no other choice. Head up onto the catwalk and we'll go around the front.
At least the ribcage is still there.
I mean, yeah, that's something. The ribcage is still there. The rest of the park is literally burning down. But,
I don't give a shit.
Oh my god, I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to run along the catwalk that is quite literally on fire, but I don't think we've got much of a choice. Martha, that's not one of ours. Also, the dinosaurs are quite literally on fire. We're not going that way, Martha. Follow me. We just need to get out of here.
Cool.
I mean, it is cool, Martha, but it's going to eat you.
I don't care.
Guns ready. We're going to have to take the train to get out of here. It's the only option. Okay. Fuck's sake, they... Oh, God. Kill them. Martha. Out my way. Overwhelming firepower. Okay, that didn't work. That didn't work.
Yeah, that's nothing. Got it.
Okay, is the tunnel clear?
I think there's a creeper. I'm on fire, right? So... Actually, I think that might have just been a normal creeper.
Okay, let's just go. We're going to need to be very careful here. Right, we need to get to this reactor before Pork Chop destroys even more of the park, because if he makes that go critical, it's all over. Oh my god, Martha! Well, it looks like some of the dinos have escaped that, or do you remember back in week 1 where you were just mining and there was a random Velociraptor behind you?
Yeah.
In the tunnel. I wonder if it's the same one. I wonder if it's the same one that's just gotten loose. Oh, right. Let's go. Right, we finally made it to the reactor. We just need to get down there and stop him while we can. Let's go. Martha, shoot on sight, okay?
You?
Not me, obviously. Pork Chop. Oh, hang on. Let me just get my keycard out. A bit embarrassing. Okay.
Just dig around.
My keycard's
Dig
not
around.
working.
Dig around it.
Yeah, Martha, I'm about to say something. Do it.
Fuck you.
You've been wanting to do that since we built this place. I mean, you've done it before, but... Oh god, Martha. I can't fix this. Those reactors are gonna blow up. Martha, do you remember when you told me I didn't need 4 reactors and I only needed 1? There was nothing we could do to save the park. It seemed that Porkchopper constructed what looks like a teleporter in the reactor room that was draining the power from all 4 reactors and causing them to overload. With no choice, me and Martha made a frantic decision. Ugh, where even are we? What the fuck?